If I got this live stream up, I got this live stream up. Trying to figure it out. What I got going live. See if I got this thing live. Hmm. See if I got something going on. Somebody just came through. Trying to get my stuff wired live. See what we're working with. One of these things is gonna work. What's up? How you doing? How you doing? Give me a minute. I'm gonna keep on talking. I'm here and I'm getting my stuff done. Just sorting out everything, but keep talking. What's on your mind? Let's get it. Trying to get my thing straight. My thing is acting kind of funny. But what's up? So he's gonna come back today. Do a back to back. Some days I can. There I go. Some days I'll do like a back to back. Some days it'll be a once a week. All depends on what I got going on. But today we getting it. We are live. Glad to have you in here today. Appreciate you. So let's get going. I'll try to get this question up. Ignore that mess. That didn't come through. Okay. Yeah, I got it. I got a video coming. I got a real simple question today. Yeah, I got that coming. Um, I read what you wrote and I laughed. The video be coming. As long as it passes, I didn't say anything to wrong, so it should pass. But I will share with you what I said. I basically laughed as I usually do. Montana's era, you can make a case for because when he played, it was more physical. I won't argue that. I saw that era. Even though Dan Fouts was kind of like the James Harden or kind of like one of those stat pattern quarterbacks. They just could never do nothing. They got to a AFC championship game, but they just couldn't play in the cold and they couldn't finish. But Montana's era was tougher. Brady Manning's, not so much. Well, I think we discussed that one last night. I guess. I guess. He did good. He bought himself another contract. Ted will tell you about it. He bought himself another contract. I don't know if I would say he did enough to keep face. Atlanta should be a near wild card team, but it's more of a disappointment for Philadelphia, if I'm honest. But Tom Brady was helped out by they changed the system, was less physical, and Peyton Manning they was less physical. So you can't compare it because they benefited from it. They didn't get body slammed like Terry Bradshaw did. They didn't get the thrown all over and took the kind of hits that Troy Aikman took or Starbuck took. I mean, come on now. So they definitely benefited this is a different era. It's not fair to compare. I don't like it when people do that, especially in none of the sports you should compare eras, but especially football and quarterback. Come on now. Yeah, he catches that pass, that should be game over. He was running without the ball. That's what messed him up. But they should have won that game though. Was it a good game? It was competitive, but should it have been a good game? Probably not. Yeah, I think he's just probably shocked that he's actually on a good team. It's probably shocking to him that actually he got a chance to be in a team that's going to win a game or could win multiple games because he ain't used to that with the Giants. Jalen Hurd and Daniel Jones are like night and day. So, but anyway, I appreciate everybody getting in this poll question because you know we're gonna be bombarded with plenty of Diddy, Puffy, P Diddy, P Daddy, Love Brother. Got 55 different names. I'm telling you. But anyway, because it's embarrassing. And why Daniel Jones still got a job? I mean, everybody's quitting on Bryce Young. He's a young pup, but Daniel Jones been playing for a minute now. He's not getting better. He's gotten worse. Even when they made the playoffs a couple years ago, the running joke was the Eagles were rubbing their toes together because they were so glad they drew in the Giants and they waxed that behind bad. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He's taking a bite out the apple and a lot of worms and came out. Cracks me up. Nobody thinks Puffy's a distraction. Okay, that's interesting so far. We just getting started. Interesting. There was some bad quarterbacking going around. Tennessee got one of the worst quarterbacks, obviously with Carolina. Um, Deshaun Watson and Jeff. You see it. It's there. It's there. Anyway, depends on who the player is we're talking about. Depends on who we're talking about. Depends on what their track record is like. You know, when Big Poppy came, he was pushing 30 because I gotta believe that guy's really about 71. Probably shade off like 35 years. But depends on who we talking about. All depends. Cats play longer now too, so depends on who we dealing with. If I want to win, and it depends on who it is. Well, Hamilton just psychological. That's all that was. That's two different situations. Albert's case, he went there and it didn't work. It didn't work. Him and Trout, and he didn't really catch on in the American League. Yeah, sometimes cats It doesn't work. Work with Kurt Schilling, became like a Robert Ory type baseball. Work for Randy Johnson, you know, Arizona came a big. So it all depends on who we talking about. Nolan Ryan made it work. Depends on who we talking about. Depends on your criteria, the player we're talking about, because it's different. It's very different. Ryde made it work. Depends on who we're talking about. So, well, yeah, some deals flop, some don't. I mean, it's all, again, can't really, it's different. Everybody's situation ain't the same. Depends on who they playing for. Depends on Justin Verlander's work. There you go. See, so every time you give me a flop, I can counter you with someone that worked. There we go. So it all depends on who you're going after. Position, player, desire. You could throw me that Robinson Cano's didn't work, and I can't argue with you, but he did get crazy deal though. So all depends. Still won a ring. Came up big for Arizona. Went to the National League and he had a great run. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about when he went to left Houston, went to Arizona. He was balling. Yeah, there are different people. It all depends on who you're talking about. There are different folks that sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss. It just depends on the era. Nolan Ryan was a great example. He got older. He made it work. All depends on who we talking about. I think he was too, but it worked though. And he had done enough goodwill in Boston where people didn't hold it against him. He's one of the few that it worked. But quick, what one was more shocking, him a Yankee or Johnny Damien? Which one got you going? Because to me, it was more Johnny Damien. Even though Boggs was a better player, somehow Boggs was decent in both worlds. Well, that's after what he went through with the Mets, but he went to Houston. And also he he fit in good with Houston. Stayed in Texas. He good old boy. He fit in where he was. He did California, New York early. He fit in real good where he went. Let's see, if you're a great player, you never ever say the pressure's why you don't want to sign. That's a cop out. That's why I'm not the biggest Nolan Ryan fan right there. I heard about that. There's nothing to report. I mean, really, we get our NBA information. Well, I don't know. He probably tired of working at a whack ESPN. So there ain't nothing to get excited about there. I don't really pay him a lot of attention no more, if you must know. You know, I go back with David Dupree and also what's his name? He used to do NBA. I used to like his voice. He was cool. I can't think him right now. Yeah, see, there you go. There you go. So I don't really, I mean, I guess you give him some respect for what he accomplished for his career, but I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling it. Nowadays, excuse me, you're online, you can find player transaction stuff going. What's up? Welcome back, Dr. Wayne. Welcome back. How you doing? Yeah, well, Discover Malika Andrews ain't gonna get you no. I'm not gonna be feeling you. I'm sorry. That's nothing I get excited about. So you want me to get excited? Bring me somebody that I can get excited about. That's not it. Okay, so let's get going. Glad to have you back, Dr. Wang. And please, everybody that's hitting the likes and people want to comment, feel free to come through. There's a lot of topics to talk about. We cover sports, music, entertainment, politics, what you feel like. Well, we're talking about Puffy, Puff Daddy. I'm sure you didn't heard about the Puffy situation. So if you want to comment about that, we're talking about basketball. Not too much. I'm trying to get on the football because it is football season. That's about a month away. Baseball, which is coming to the home stretch. Politics, that's always a topic around music, entertainment, whatever you want to get into. Feel free. It's open season around here. We took a poll question too. Is Puffy a distraction? Do you think they're using him as a device to offset other stuff that's happening? So that's a great question, Peter Jones. Yes, I would. Yeah, I do write poems. Yes, I do. Yes, I would. And I'll tell you why. Because if they really monitor him or whatever, well, he's not going to do anything dumb. Where's he going to go? And it makes them, thank you, sir. It makes them look, I know they got an airtight case. That's why they're going to get it. But I would. I would. You got to pay a lot of money. First of all, they want to make him, they want to break his pockets. So yeah, let him put up 5, $10 million. Sure, why not? This is bigger though than what they're saying. No, this is huge. Yes, Dr. Wong, thank you very much. I do write. I have different places that I write on. So yeah. Feel free to give me some commentary. See what's on your mind. What's on your mind. What's on your mind. Whatever you want to talk about, let's go for it. Let's see. People getting quiet now. Let's get it. Oh, people getting quiet on me. Let's see what we're talking about. What happened? Please tell me what's up. Yeah, that's a lot of nice scenery. Uh, it is pretty at night. I like to. You've been watching my videos. Thank you. Um, I do like to go down and Feel it. You said leaves are changing, so what's that mean for your temperature? Yeah, thank you, Dr. Wine. You starting to feel some cool air coming in? That Lake Erie coming in? Give me some of that Lake Erie whistle. Let me know Lake Erie's coming in. I don't really have none because you know what? You know, it's a funny story. It's been years, I think. I gotta think back to the last time people did door to door. It's been a long time. So I haven't had those in years. Serious. Yeah, you just don't like Cleveland. I understand. And Deshaun Watson. He might do some trick or treating. They had to do some trick or treating with their quarterbacks. 6 votes so far for Puffy. I hope that's a snark remark. I hope that's snarky. What's up, Corey Woodard? I hope you're joking. If you heard what they found with all the lube in the tubes, I don't know. I, ugh, I don't know. That made me laugh. Well, it's okay. What you know about basketball, Dr. Wayne? Do tell. What kind of music you like too? I'm for real, Corey. You had me laughing. I don't know if you serious or not. I don't know if you trolling. If you trolling, that's hilarious. Everybody saw the 1K lube bottles. Johnson and Johnson for real. I'm like, oh, the freak offs. It's crazy. You know, it's so funny. You turn CNN on and talking about freak offs. We went to the daddy house and they found freak off material. Like that is hilarious. I laugh. Well, thank you though. I needed that laugh though. You know what? I didn't want to have to party with him because I tell you something. So I was nowhere near any of his houses, and I heard all the stories. So I know people in the industry that heard these stories. People be lying. They've been hearing these stories for years. They know what's up. You want to tell you where you at talking about trick or treat? Go to old Diddy's house. That was trick or treating. Crazy, crazy. But there's a lot of people associated with it. Who been hanging at Diddy's house? That's the big question. That was funny. Appreciate you sharing that though. I needed a good laugh though. That made me laugh. All right, now let's get some more questions going because I want people to like nod off. We got a lot to talk about. We're here live. Feel free. Let's get some questions. I'm looking forward to people just, you know. So let's get it. I think some people just were coming in from this evening. Probably got had a long day. We're in the middle of the week already. So you know, if you watch, so there is a podcast him and Cameron host. So type in Mason Cameron. It's on YouTube. Michael Irvin, the football player, the receivers on there. It's hilarious. Anyway, he talks about it, but I ain't really gone into the whole nine. It's gonna probably be very. selective with what he says about certain things. But Mason Gene Deal used to be Puffy's bodyguard, have been talking. Gene Deal can't stop talking. Gene Deal and Reggie Wright Jr. got stories all days on folks. So, but yeah, good one about the Mace though. Mace talks, but again, cats ain't gonna come on and say what they gonna say. Yeah, Mace, Cameron, and Michael Irvin. They're OJ Simpson was on there last year, and Michael Irvin came there this year. It'd be good too. Mace and Cameron got good chemistry. I like watching them. Mace talks. The biggest thing he talked about is that Puffy hustled him out of his writing royalties, because when he came out with Bad Boy, Puffy took it and used it for the Bad Boys movie with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. So from a business perspective, but he keeps his cool though. He doesn't really, you know, tends to take a high road. Let's see what we working with. Well, he got pretty much ran off the networks because he didn't really fit on Undisputed. He been doing some color commentary podcasts, but um, no one has really messed with him because he just be loud. He talked like he been snorting something. I call him like the Black Randy Savage because you remember Randy Savage like, no one better back into my Slim Jim. And Michael Irvin be like that all the time. So you can't tell if he's impersonating Randy Savage or Buster Rhymes. But anyway, he didn't really fit. He was just loud and boisterous. He gets ran off these shows. But anyway, he was pretty funny with Cameron because they were talking about Shannon Sharp and the whole thing with the Shannon Sharp thing. I didn't wonder about Mike Irvin after he left Undisputed because he wasn't necessarily that good to begin with on the show, but I was making sure that he was safe and that he was going. As a football player, I thought he was great, and I pulled for the guy on the personal side. However, commentary is a mixed bag, and him and Skip kind of he ain't that dude that connects. Excuse me. You know, so I just don't feel like he connects. Yeah, okay. Have you watched it? Do you like it? Everybody the 411. See, because I'm too afraid to watch it unless he's high. If he's high, I'll watch it. But if he's up there talking that talk, oh, he was. He was, because he was the motor that got the engine going. He was tough. He's as tough as they come. And one of the greatest receivers ever. I got no problem with that. My problem with him is just that he just doesn't really have the personality. He has personality, but it's like it's contrived. And I'm not really, you know, you asking me, can he handle YouTube streets? No. Because he needs a personality person with him. I did a video about it. He needs someone like how Peyton and Eli feed off each other. That's what he needs. And not just Elderman either. Because they cursed all the time on that one thing. He needs someone that can kind of like balance him out. Yeah, so well he cursed too much and then he kept saying stuff. And I think he did it just to get the coach he wanted. I don't think it was really about, you know. So it's not for everybody. Well, because Woj actually gave him reporting and stuff, and Woj wasn't gonna step on his toes and kind of stay cool with him. He tends to got something always to say. It's always the usual situation. Most of it just the moment was trying to get my stuff designed, so scouring the room. But what's up? Well, when you say you can't help but do that, do elaborate. Make me let me know what puffy. Let me know what you got. But when you say he's doing that, I need to know. So they say he did, but I don't know if they were gonna take him off though. And if he did, he was stupid to wait that late. He should have had that already done. I don't know. Can't say. Mm. What's up, Derek? How you doing? He may have had it ready. He may have. Yeah, he been around a long time. Mm. Well, he might have stuff already lined up, but again, it all depends on what he gonna do with it. I don't know. I don't know. Listen. No, he's not unfairly criticized. That's a good question. No. And since you're asking a basketball question, I'll answer it because you don't, football and then a baseball, but I'll answer this. No, he brought that on himself. He has no business talking about Shaquille O'Neal or this or anything. He brought a lot of it on himself. He's got to do a better job creating spacing and playing defense and, of course, bring some scoring. So no. So not on the Rudy Gobert. Okay, let's see what kind of questions we got. We got stuck on the Gobert. I'd already answered that about Rudy Gobert. This is a great question, Dr. Wang. That's a great question. A lot depends on what he gets out of Draymond Green. And it depends if he decides to and Bogut. I think that the post is going to be interesting till you know. I think the nucleus wins a couple rings though with him in the mix. Good question. I like that question. That was a good question. Ted, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. But I like that Mark Jackson question. Mm. What we got right here? Let's see what the question is. Somebody told me that Gobert was a star player. I just want to see how when you get pulled off from the plus a little bit because you can't adjust to certain matches in my pair. A star should. That is a true statement. Um, you spot on. He is an offensive liability. He sometimes gets distracted. Sometimes there are matchups that he has no answers for. Case in point was that Dallas Mavericks series. After looking pretty good against the Nuggets on the perimeter, because they doubled up on Michael Porter Jr. But you know, he was a liability against Dallas. So he, he didn't bring it. And so that's the problem. He's too inconsistent. And he's not the second coming to Dikembe Mutombo or Ben Wallace or whoever you want to mention is great. It's not Dwight Howard better, but they still trying to sell the agenda of him. Really go back. Should be. Call him Rudy go back. So will Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard got a ring too. And Dwight Howard should have been a top 75 player too. I well, yeah, yeah, he is compared to him. He is. Most cats feel that way. That's why when Draymond Green was choking him out, no one was really sad for him. And they can't stand Draymond Green. So what's that tell you about Rudy Gobert? They weren't even crying when he was choking him out. So pretty kind of low key night so far. Glad to have a couple people come through. Hopefully somebody will come through, got some conversation. Okay, this is a good question. What was missing from Dwight? Well, he was actually built like a modern day David Robinson. So if you ever watched David Robinson play, that's who he was like. He didn't have a shot. And the funny story, when the Lakers beat Orlando and they won the one game, Derek Fisher and them were stripping him. He never had a go-to move. It was dunks and just a little spin and move to the hole. He didn't work on a fade. He didn't have a jump hook. He didn't have a shot. That was the problem. And he was not that good of a free throw shooter. So when you have all those offensive deficiencies, he was a 17 and 13 man or a 17, 20, but he didn't score. That's he was built like Robinson. And he had some big games, but he needed a Dave Robinson style. He would have been dominant had he had that. Shaq had a hook. Shaq could drive, and Shaq had footwork. The White never had any rhythm offensively. Now he's shooting threes where no one cares, but he never had an offensive game. Okay. I'm not gonna really say nothing about it. I try not to talk about Gilbert Arenas if I can help it though. He did. Back then, Bynum was the better offensive player than Dwight, but he didn't see the difference between those two. Bynum had everything that Dwight didn't have, but he didn't have the work ethic. So that's the end of that. Mm, I don't really care about that. I'm not really. Mullen could shoot, and pros, so that's not surprising. But Mullen was never the player that KD was. He had handles and he could move, but he wasn't the player that KD was. Body went out to. Yeah, I remember. He didn't want to be taught the sky hook. Told him that's an old man shot. I remember. I guess not really. He doesn't have a job in the NBA. They don't like being shown moves that were happening. That's all that is. They don't think the sky hook is worth remembering and embracing, you know. So yeah, he did. He was living that lifestyle. Came fast, went fast. That's all I can say. So Ted, let's talk about Caleb Williams. That's interesting. I saw the CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud said that he gave him, dapped him up, said, "You gonna be all right." Thought that was pretty good. Caleb got his work cut out though in Chicago though. Think he can be okay, but they don't block worth nothing. And they don't give you no offense in Chicago. They was dissing Caleb Williams last night. They were saying he brought in the same boat as Bo Nixon. They said Washington got the better quarterback. I'm like, wow, that's cold. Ain't none of them thrown a touchdown pass yet either. That's sad. So if you're Denver, Chicago, and Washington, that's not a good look. 10 votes on the Puffy's a distraction. So far, 30-40. Pretty close. That's pretty good. 30-40. Mm. All right, feel free to give some comments because if I don't see nobody coming, okay, let's see. That's a great question. The Detroit thing, because I think it was something to do with Ford. Ford was real big with the car dealership in Detroit, and that's the only thing I can think of. The Cowboys, they were his franchise, but I have not understood it either. Especially when Detroit stunk for like 15 years. I mean, I didn't get it. No, they got their politics. Yeah, his jersey gonna probably be 75% or half off. I almost feel bad for the cat, but you're not gonna have much success playing in that team. I mean, really, you're not a good look. And it's a long season too. This is week 2, and they're pulling the plug on him. Oh boy. And you know Andy Dalton ain't gonna have but like 2 or 3 out of body games. Oh boy. Not good for Carolina. It's a long, long, long season. Could be a long season. If you could say long, long 3 times, a long time. That's gonna be long. Bad, bad, bad look. Barry Sanders was a great running back. He's one of my 5 favorite running backs ever. He was great. And he retired and he made people wonder, but then again, they stunk, so I understood. Yeah, Charlie Batch is his quarterback, so I got it. But I did like Barry. Batch was okay. Batch had a couple okay moments, but I got it. Barry was enjoyable. He was electrifying. Okay. Got the Barry Sanders question. Okay. That was cool. Hmm. Mhm. Trying to see if anybody's still around. Because if I don't get some buzz, I will have to disappear. It's been pretty quiet. I know I'm gonna have to put more messages out when I go live, but I thought I'd try to give some people some attention tonight. Well, yeah, they beat up on Seattle last night, and the funny thing about that is Aaron Judge was just hitting hit 2 back-to-back base knocks, had 4 RBIs, and Soto had the only ballpark he had never hit a home run in was in Seattle. He teed off. Yeah, they're playoff bound, but that's again 90 Mr. 90 win is I know it's the YouTube situation. And I'm trying to alleviate that problem the best I know how because it's been problematic. I remember sometimes this place would be stacked. The only way we'll know if he turned the corners come, you know when they're coming. You're a Yankee fan. I ain't gotta say nothing. I'm not impressed right now. I've seen this song and dance before. I want it when it comes the most. Not now. Beat Houston, then I might say, okay. Beat You know what we got expectations for? Because he ain't gonna have but so many more years, and you know what their expectations are. Yankee fans don't have to say nothing. We already know. So I'm glad you said something. I haven't really paid him no mind. I seen him up there squawking. I try not to pay that turkey no mind though. He's pathetic. Them steroids that made him crazy, and he says anything. He's just a disgruntled madman. He's become the old Italian dude that he probably didn't want to be, but he become that dude. Say anything, anything. No, I don't believe in that notion, but there is the notion that the best hasn't been born yet. That's a truth that you can say. There's always talent in every era. How can I say that? Yeah, he is. Because you get athletes, there's always somebody that stands out. So for every time, every era produces a guy that's just like unlike what you've seen. So you can't say that. But at the same time, there's some guys from the past, they were mind blowing. Because you had a basketball player 60 years ago in Will Chamberlain. You had a football player in Jim Brown back then. So come on now, make it make sense. You had Willie Mays back then. I can argue those three guys up. I can throw Bill Russell in there for whatever you put today. So, it all depends on what your criteria, you know. So I don't know. Every year produces bigger, quicker, stronger. That doesn't mean that they're mentally challenged, though. Doesn't mean that they're mentally deep. Joel Embiid could give it a run because he can shoot free throws, he can score. He could give it a run. They would love if it was Anthony Edwards, though. They'd make better star power. But I think Embiid, if there's anyone right now, he too old. He might crack a 60, 65, maybe close to a 70. I can't see him going off like that. Because first of all, he don't shoot the ball enough. He defer too much. He's not a high volume shooter. I can't see that. Tatum is inconsistent. I could see him flirting with 45 to 55 points, maybe a 60 if he gets lucky, but I can't see him off no 81. We must be looking at two different Jason Tatums because he's streaky. Now, I will say this, as much as he gets the free throw line, you would think he'd be on par with something pretty historic, but uh he can be erratic. Not now, I can't. Not now. 60, I don't see it now. Especially now without Clay and what they got going for with their squad. Cats are gonna come over there and double them up. So I don't know if he's gonna be able to pull it off. Yeah, I remember that. They did pay him off. One of the sons had to do a bid, got locked up. They were trying to be wannabes. It was a mess. But and I think one of the sons got an assistant coaching job. It's low key though. It was done on the low. That's why Andy Reid has no bad press. But if Andy Reid ever says anything that turns him off, they'll bring it up. They've been low key. He could, but I don't see that happening. I give him about half. I give him about 15. He gotta have a real hot night. I don't know if he's gonna have I don't know if he's gonna have a slow decline. I just think that he don't have much to work with. I don't think his decline is gonna be slow. I think the guy will still average about 25, 26 points a game. Think he'll be fine getting the shot off. The problem is what will they have to work with? Um, they probably about a year too slow with getting rid of Clay, and nobody wants Draymond, so they're kind of stuck with that. I don't know. He is too cocky. That's why Boston gonna beat the doorknobs off of him, and I know Tatum and Brown can't wait to get their hands on him. Yeah, well, you're gonna be kind of arrogant when you win a handful of rings as a player, regardless of how you did it, and then you turn around as a head coach and you win a handful of rings. Makes you look like the kid who knew too much, Richie Rich. But he can't be that cocky, excuse me, because they're not beating Sacramento. He was very rude towards him. What league are there? Oh, that's a great question. No, he ain't the luckiest. I'll tell you who the luckiest is in just a second. Let me answer this question. What league? I would say that's ran the best. I gotta say the NFL because it's the biggest draw. It's more intriguing. They can be flawed like them all, but they're the ones that keep you coming back. They figured out. They figured it out. So I gotta say the NFL. You'd asked me that in another lifetime, I would have told you Major League Baseball, but they're kind of like I don't know how I would describe them. And NBA is ran well with what they manipulate, but I don't like the politics of it. So I gotta get the NFL that. Let me see. Let me answer that question, Ted. Let me think. Is he the luckiest player ever? What would make Steve Kerr more lucky than say Scottie Pippen? What would make Steve Kerr more luckier than say LeBron James even? What would make Steve Kerr more luckier than say Tyronn Lue? See, it all depends on what your definition of being lucky is. Um, Scottie Pippen, because of all his antics and his hating on Michael Jordan and how he acted, and I could say Tony Kukoc if you really want to be technical, because Tony was very lucky. And um, obviously, um, who did I just say? I said Kukoc, Pippen, um, Tyronn Lue. Was Tyronn Lue parlayed that ring? head coaching job, got to coach LeBron, got to coach Kawhi. That's a lot of luck. So all depends on what your definition of luck is and who we're talking about. That's all. You know, he could actually play though. He was better than Steve Kerr, but he was lucky though. But he did do pretty good. I mean, he got to the finals with Phoenix with Barkley. He played with some, but he was chippy. He had a role, but he could be considered lucky. Hmm. There's a lot of guys I consider lucky. I'm gonna shock you in football. You won't even think of who I'm gonna say. I'm gonna tell you Steve Young because when he came out with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was not that good. Then he went to LA Express, came back with the 49ers, came back running. He was lucky. And he won a ring with Jerry Rice. But why you don't like Jordan Love? Jordan Love is good. Jordan Love ain't no buster. I don't understand the Jordan Love diss tracks. I think he decent, you know. They can win without him, but they ain't gonna win no games now. It depends on what you talking about when you say win without him. If you're talking about making a run in the postseason, forget about that. But they can win some regular season games. But he's definitely a different motor for them now. And then you would get rid of that Green Bay Packer logo. You'd be a you'd be a fan of the Buccaneers. Because I'm here to tell you right now, I was watching Nick Wrong, and he was going on about Baker Mayfield, but I can't even argue his last 7 or 8 games, just like Derek Carr. But Daniel Jones, I don't know where you could put him and make him better. I don't know. I got no problem with that. As a Miami Heat fan, which I am, that 2013 shot will always be forever etched in my eyes. But I can't, these probably have more clutch than Steph, but I do like Steph better though. But I like Ray a lot. So I'm not gonna argue with you. Yeah, I thought DJ Stroud would do good this year. I see that. They're very poised and if again, getting only gonna get better. Yeah, playoff team. Yeah. Mm. He's poised. I like the way he play. You know, um, stay healthy, stay motivated. If you're a Houston Texans fan, you hope that you get this one right. You had a false start with Deshaun, so hopefully you get this one right and nothing gets in the way. So keep the thoughts like Amber Rose away. You'll be all right. I still remember hanging out. Yeah, he got a nice arm. It's just that they don't have any structure. There's no TJ Hilton. They don't have any real depth. I like his arm, but they're not, they're one of those teams that's kind of, you know, they need some kind of structure. But I've watched him first game. He hit some nice bombs off the back foot. I was impressed. They're doing it now because you know why they're doing it, right? You know why they're doing it. Do I have to spell it out to you, or do I have to say it? You know why they're doing it. Yeah, they are, because they're big business overseas. They are loyal to because it's black quarterbacks. And everybody's trying to get the next Mahomes, the next Lamar, could have been the next RG3, could have been the next Kaepernick, could have been the next Cam Newton. See, in the last 15 years, the young black quarterback has taken over the NFL. It's been right there for the eyes to see. So they want to get on board of that. That's why you saw, as you pointed out in our live stream, 15 black starting quarterbacks. That was on her. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Great to have you. Great, welcome. They were reluctant for years. This is only in the last 15 years. So if you grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s football, even parts of the 90s, black quarterback dominance was not, you know, well, he's not picking up. It's not all his fault though. They suck though, but he's not picking up. But you see what I'm going at with this. That's why. Because they figure you got wheels, you got an arm, make it happen. They think it's like a genie out of a bottle. I'm sorry, there's only one of one when it comes to Mahomes. There's only one of one of Lamar Jackson. Everybody ain't got cut and built like that. They're more like Justin Fields. Some of them are like Trey Lance. Russell Wilson, who I forgot to mention, had a great, balance. That's another reason why they're trying to push agendas. There you go. Oh yes, what's up? I mean, but they need it to win because the speed, you can't catch what you can't hit. You can't hit what you can't catch. That's what's up. There gonna be a day and time when the Matthew Staffords are no longer there. Um, that's why Tua's got the job he's got. That's you know, I see it unfold. What's up? You think Jameson Winston just got a backup job because, just saying. Mm, he's not jealous of him. He got no reason to be jealous of him. Well, Doug Williams was the first, but Doug got forgotten. Russell was the second. But if you're talking about in the modernized era and you're using curly hair and waves as your argument, no Diddy, okay, I'll give you that. I it's hard to say. It's hard to say because their talent level, like Vic was probably the most naturally talented specimen of a quarterback I've seen. He just couldn't get it right. Cunningham was bad, but I don't know. I'd like to think they would. I could tell you, I could make the same argument for Warren Moon. I'd like to think they would, but it depends on who you got, what you got. I remember when Doug Williams had the Hogs and Ricky Sanders and uh, Art Monk and Tim Smith had incredible. See, that's what I'm talking about. There you go, bingo. That's not the diss Ernest Givens and what he had because they were incredible on offense, but he didn't have what they had in Frisco. Didn't have that. And he still was a top 2 or 3 rated percentage quarterback, but he didn't have that. He did not have a Bill Walsh as his head coach. See, and that's why Andy Reid and the Mahomes thing is so mind blowing because Reid could do all that West Coast offense and all that stylings. Get the right quarterback, right system, right scenario. You look like a genius. Now, when Patrick Mahomes needs an award collected, he can send his coach, and ain't nobody saying jack. That's when you know you gangster. Vice versa, they do commercials together. They dominant. So that's what's up. In this day and time, if that was to go down, Ted, they would have gotten warmer, different climate back then. I lived it. I remembered it. Gotta remember our show was the first African American head coach, and that was in '89. So they weren't that progressive. And as far as black quarterbacks, again, gone over that already. Because the Doug Williams, now granted, Don McNabb participated in runner up, and so did Steve McNair. But you didn't have another black winning quarterback until you got Russell Wilson. So think about how long that was. It's 25 years from '88 to 2013. That's the cold reality of it. And I always say race is in everything. So there you go. Because until you have the components and everything in perspective, everybody joining in, please hit that like. Please hit that like. And if you want to donate, feel free to hit the donate too. If you want to join a membership, feel free to do that too. I welcome it all. The more the merrier, because the more support I get, the more live streams I will do. I have to take everything in consideration. Appreciate it when it showed up. I got 13 votes so far for the puffy. Is he a distraction? It is getting close. 46 say yes, 54 say no. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad as always, Ted. Always glad to have you. Appreciate you as always. Yeah, and see, when you bring up obvious situations, you ask Dr. Wong asked me which league is ran best. They got everybody thinking the NBA is ran best. They got this false illusion that it's a players' league, that they get to do what they want to do. It's LeBron and the media, and it's not like that. It's not like that. It's a business. It's a business. And Joe Mazzola, who did win for the Celtics, is that's the quietest, winningest for a season head coach. I mean, the Celtics have been so disrespected. It's not even funny. I hear nothing about him at all. Nothing. So it tells you right there that the numbers don't lie. They should be embarrassed of themselves. Well, you need black trends, but you need owners and coaches. That's what you need. You need to get the front line. Stop playing the back line on the field. You need to have people having a say. Um, no, they don't have Mahomes is got global. Mahomes is getting there, but Kelsey's bigger. And you don't the quarterback is the face of the league, and he is, but is he bigger than Kelsey? Was with Taylor Swift. See, that right there is an interesting uh dichotomy right there. That's interesting flip right there. You could say that back in the day. I give you that, but football players are very visible now. They played a game in Brazil. They're going where the NBA is going. It's the biggest moving sport in America. And you do have more. Joe Burrow has some. Yeah, I remember that. I wasn't mad with him. I was mad with him because he didn't dive in that pile to get that rock. I wasn't mad with him by him walking out. He shortchanged the team. Who knows what happened if he take that dive, but he didn't. They did on purpose. That's why I like his show. I watch his show because his show is good. He be bringing the facts. Yeah, it is. It's trying to. It so TSP, they're trying to. They're trying to. The difference is that the NFL still holds more interest. The difference is that Patrick Mahomes is happening in this time, and they're not like I know they still some of them want to Aaron Rodgers to LeBron James, but we know Aaron Rodgers ain't win no ring, and we know we don't see it. That's the difference. There's certain things. Well, because Bill Russell wasn't marketed, and there is a lack of respect for defense. There's a lack of respect when there's not commercialization. Larry Bird got all the love, and he was one of the 5. I hold Larry Bird high, but you gotta have Bill Russell high too. Everything Bill Russell did as a player coach too. You hear all these people talk about how LeBron runs the team and does this, and Magic ran in the team, and Jordan ran the team. Bill Russell actually did. He was. That's what it come down to. From the fro puffs on his head, the man was yeah, that's what it comes down to. And I'm not gonna say that in hardly in every case, because there's case by cases, but yes. Yeah, and I remember that Super Bowl too because against Pittsburgh, because he should have had more. They dropped a couple of passes, but that was a big year for him because he had that concussion. He probably did. I mean, I'm not gonna go on everybody that because I was when DJ played with Seattle and Phoenix, I was a teenage kid. And I kept up with him, of course, with Boston. He tried to fit in with the Celtics. He probably did when he was with Bird and McHale and them in Boston. But it didn't really work for him because he got like an assistant coach job with the Clippers. And no one was really sweating him. And then he went a long time before he got into the Hall of Fame. I know about his off the court situation, but you can have him. You might get him back too at a discount. He keep putting up 40 burgers and keep looking at that scoreboard like, because I love it when I be watching Cowboy games and he be all like, what you looking at? Like a UFO coming in the Jerry world? Did you see that flying saucer that says 40 so and so to your 12 or your 50, 60 till Dak starts stat padding? You know it's true because every time, what's up with your boy Meathead all up on the scoreboard? Like, maybe if I look at it to the left, maybe if I look at it to the right, maybe I think he thinking maybe that'll change. Ted, we're gonna do scoreboard watching in here. That's what I'm gonna start. I'm gonna do the Meathead watch. That's in honor of you. Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious when they pan out into the and them chicks be like, makeup be all drenched, dude be looking all sad, heads be all covered, and then you see Stephen A. sniggling going, it's like clockwork. I don't know what's gonna happen when they play the Ravens, so I don't know. Somebody gotta win that game. Somebody gotta step up. I don't know. But if they get their butt blew out, Meathead won't be he'll be looking outside of the stadium, be cracking me up because he did that. He always does it when they're getting their butt blowed out at home. He'd be all, I'm like, "What you looking at?" Well, I ain't got no problem with Bill Russell because Bill Russell went through so much. I'm the one that coined the meathead, so I gotta get that copyright. He be looking at that scoreboard. I don't know what he's looking for. I got nothing bad to say about Bill Russell. Ain't nothing but respect and love for Bill Russell. He put it down. What he went through in that racist time, what he had to deal with, I got nothing but respect for that man. Yeah, well, it's not just the YouTube thing, it's also because people have downplayed it because it's not emphasized enough. I don't just blame it on them. I'm one of these kind of people, Imma tell you, if you watch my live streams or if you ever heard me talk, like if I did interviews about, I was talking about Gilbert Arenas, uh, I did a video about him, I did a video about Anthony Edwards. Now they say ignorant, dumb stuff, but I'm not holding them all accountable. As a matter of fact, 75% of the blame I hold to the NBA. Because from David Stern to Adam Silver in between, they have not put an emphasis on this history of the game. When I was watching ball in the 80s and the 90s, they sold everything about Magic and Bird to Jordan. They did not talk about Dr. J in the ABA. They sure as heck weren't talking about Bill Russell hardly, unless you went to an old school head. They were not going back or will for that. They've done everything to modernize, to downplay. So when they bring heads on sticks like JJ Redick to say plumbers and bartenders and to disrespect. It's been allowed. They saved it from a financial, and plus they were, but you gotta remember how they were marketed. They were marketed to Boston, the Lakers. Was that by accident? See, that's what people start to think the fix is on. Because could you imagine if Bird and Magic had have been playing for Milwaukee and uh the Sonics, would that have generated as much attention? Think about it. Please hit that like too when you come in. Please hit that like. The destruction of it became superstar based and it started becoming the marketing. And like I said, I tell anybody with Stern, I love how he made the game taking it from tape delay and made it happen. But my downside is that when Jordan came along, they romanticized this endorsement and they took the team out of it. Well, there was a time they did had no 3-point line. Different era, and guys actually scored more points. Believe it or not, they actually scored more points. Believe it or not, some guys would still be fine. Steph Curry would be just fine as he is. Because if people forget, he got a nasty drive to the hole. So yeah, well, he wanted an attractive pick, so that's what happened. That ain't gonna happen. As a matter of fact, they'll probably bring a 4-point line in. They'll never play the All Star. First of all, I don't watch the NBA All Star game no more. That's not an All Star game. That's like watching some cats in a pickup game playing in the yard by and basically just shooting till they can't. No one watches that mess no more. I hope not. You had Anthony Davis looking like he was Will Chamberlain, but when he played with LeBron James, it's a meat market. I don't know about billionaires. Now, see, I don't know about that. The guys who own the teams, not the guys on the floor. I don't ever want to hear about no NBA player being a billionaire, what their money is again. I don't. They would R back it if they could, but it's going to the owners. The guys don't have no appreciation. That's what I'm thinking. That's why it's like that. There's no incentive. And they really don't respect Adam Silver. They didn't want to play during 2021 because of the lockdown, the mandates. And they really ain't feeling what the game has become because it's been like that for 20 years. It's gotten worse and worse. And Ruckers that once mattered in the NBA All-Star game don't matter no more. So it's absurd. It's absurd. We got what we got now? 50, 46, 54. Okay. 46 say Puffy's a distraction from other. It's okay. It's still close. Good poll. So I don't pay it no mind. I really don't. What you mean 50-50? I thought you didn't know nothing about no football. Now you come with some good questions. Oh, it's gonna be the Cowboys, yo. I mean, they won 3 chips. Okay. Well, he's a great player. I just haven't kept up with that aspect of it. But he's a great player. What do you want me to say? Now, what he got to do is make it count come postseason. And who's gonna do it first, him or Aaron Judge? That's where it matters the most. So that's the one. It's the Cowboys. The Broncos were great for their run, especially when Terrell Davis was doing his thing anyway. But it's the 90s Cowboys. Come on. If they don't run Jerry Jones out, I mean Jerry Jones don't run Jimmy Johnson out, they got a chance to almost be like the Bulls of football. And I hated it. They beat my Bills twice, but they were that good. Oh, you know a little something. Yeah, I gave it to you. Oh, you that's good. Well, I didn't think you that was a good question though. I'm a Yankee fan, but I don't care and tell to tell you until we get to October. I don't get excited about Mr. 90 wins, Aaron Boone and stat padding and all that. Cause I mean, and I want to see them do the nine. I won't do the whole nine. I ain't with all this. It's been since 2009. It's time. Um, yeah, well, they didn't. Yeah, I saw that. They didn't quarterbacking, and you got to have a quarterback. And you know, what you want me to say? I don't really put attention to the Broncos though. But if they had a decent quarterback, they would be an okay team because their defense is okay. They just suck at quarterback, and Bo Nixon's gonna need another year. He's an old traditional rookie. And every time they go and get somebody in, they always like a sloppy third tier. So yeah, I saw that. I saw the walk. Heard about the whole thing, but as core was I need to check that out. But yeah, you know, I don't get excited about the Yankees till we get to postseason. I have expectations. I'm sorry. You call it arrogance or expectations? I don't know. I don't even care about draft day no more. Yeah, because I know what core is about. And they but need to be worried about trying to make the postseason because no one, I don't have no Red Sox fans talking trash to me no more. They mighty quiet. They fighting for their lives. Average baseball team. For all they, can't get their pitching together. I ain't trying to hear nothing them turkeys got to say. Oh, I did like draft day. I did watch it. Yeah, it was all right. I've seen better and I've seen worse. Not bad. You know, you could tell I was kind of upset with Corey. Yeah. Well, there's always something going on. I don't need to be reminded of it, but you know one thing, it ain't gonna happen now. Dave Roberts ain't gonna steal no mysterious bases. Yeah, it worked out perfectly back then in '09. And I owe a big thank you to Cameron Diaz because A-Rod played his behind off. But yeah, I tried to think about it, Ted. I try not to. That was a sad time, but it ain't gonna happen this time. It was tough. If you were a Yankee fan or a Laker fan, those was two tough situations for you. But I think the Yankee thing was even worse because no one had blown a 3-0 lead. And they were stomping Boston too. And you can make the case that after that, that was it. They did. Yeah, the Mariners, had they had anybody that halfway could have saved them, they would have, you know, please hit that like. Please hit that like. If you're entering, please hit that like. So that's kind of how I have to look at it. I try not to talk about it, but I know in my heart of hearts, that's what Boston was enabled after that. 'Cause the Yankees only won one World Series after that, and things were never the same. And it's kind of like everybody's moss and claws and stuff came off because the White Sox got that World Series the next year, and then Boston won again, and till we beat Philly. But it was tough. It was tough, tough, tough to take psychologically, just wrong. So trying to. Well, he was older then. I mean, I can't hold that against him. Time had caught up with him. Yeah, that did hurt. What's up? How you doing, JT? How you doing? Yeah, they did. They had probably one of the most talented teams in the '90s I'd ever seen. I was in the area. Griffith Jr. was incredible. You had Ryde, you had Edgar Martinez, you had Buhner, you had Randy Johnson, and Jimmy Moore. You had just didn't get it done. Lou Piniella, I don't know. Oh wow, you really coming at me. Ichiro into the OOs. Buckets would be number one, and then I would probably Lambert, Willie Lanier, and then Singletary. But Buckets would be number one. Hard for me to go against Dick Buckets. That was a tough dude. Jack Lambert was a bad boy. Willie Lanier, now that's like a close two, but Buckets was number one. Singletary, because the thing he did is that when he hit you with his eyes open, that always freaked me out. I never saw anyone else like that, so that was kind of freaky. But he was bad. Yeah, I loved Ichiro. No, not that I remember. No, but if he did, I can't remember. They traded. They always end up getting rid of people, and everybody would leave them and go. No, he didn't. They go somewhere else and win a ring. Because I remember who was that pitcher for them back in early '00s? Because he was there before Felix Hernandez. Anyway, he went to the White Sox and won a ring. And of course, everybody know about Tino Martinez. Everybody know about Alex Rodriguez. People always leave Seattle and go get jewelry. And so did Tino Martinez. Yeah. No, it was before King Felix. It was can't think of him right now, but he went to the White Sox and won a ring. Oh, it was. I had the ABA book. Um, yeah, that's what it was for Detroit. No, the only books I still got an old Stevie Wonder book that I've been still reading on the music and the Bruce Lee and the Michael Jackson book and basketball books. The Terry Pluto ABA book is what I'd recommend for sports. Love that book. But I had already, familiarized myself with the Dr. J stuff, and um, I read my stuff online these days. I used to do the book stuff. Oh, the Marlins. I don't really even talk about the Marlins though, because the way they blew that team up when they had talent is a travesty. They won 2 World Series in a short window and messed up a special thing. So it's hard for me to get excited about them. I remember how good they looked for a moment, but played a great World Series against Cleveland and they beat the Yankees. And I thought Dontrell Willis and Beckett were going to be on it. Pudge was a bad boy. I like Pudge a lot. Everything that come out of the Chargers was one of the most to not win. I could say that about the '80s Chargers too. Kellen Winslow, Charlie Joyner, John Jefferson, Dan Fouts, James Brooks, with Eric Coryell. As if you're a Chargers fan, you've been gone through the '80s. How did you go to Super Bowl with Stan Humphries? I'm still ain't figured that out. But you couldn't sniff it with Dan Fouts or with Drew Brees, and now you got Justin Herbert. If you're a Chargers fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've had arguably some of the best talent the last 4 decades, and you only got one Super Bowl appearance for it. Thank you. Marty Schottenheimer, and you had LT. Crazy. But Daniel was balling, but he didn't do nothing. He had that James Harden syndrome too. I remember that. Yeah, he spent 20 years still trying to do one-on-one with Dr. J, which didn't mean anything. I remember Natron. Yep. But he didn't do nothing in the postseason. And I just, that's what Rodney Harrison was there before he came to New England. Well, he came to New England already, but they're flapping their birds, their mouths. Chargers have always just been like a wasteland of good, but they didn't do anything. Yep, he was. Mr. Lights Out. Just didn't finish. Yeah. Anyway, it's almost my dinner time because I've been on for almost 2 hours. And if you guys like, y'all let me know if y'all want me to come back on maybe tomorrow. Because I might could do maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. Probably be more likely Friday. But if you catch tell me you're gonna show up. I'll come back around this time. Look out for me in the next couple of days. May come back tomorrow, may come back Friday. One of the two for sure. This has been good. It got heated up good. Appreciate everybody coming through. Appreciate the support and the great questions. We said the membership, donations, and everything. Feel free. Appreciate you. Um, Thank you so much. Before I go, let me answer that. Mm, the Rams are the ones that need a win. Sean McVay's been being out coach. He got to figure it out. He got embarrassed against the Cardinals and didn't play a half against Detroit. 49ers, I think they'll do okay. But again, Purdy and them got to figure out how to get in the end zone. That's the problem. That's what they got to do. Thanks for taking the poll. The latest was 47 to 53. So yes, he was a distraction. 53 said no. Thanks for the gift memberships. Appreciate everything. Stay strong, stay blessed, stay true, stay real. I'll catch you next time. And I will be back either next day or the next two. So keep your eyes on because you know how YouTube is. Because you know sometimes I can't get these things out. So I'm looking forward to you. Peace and the best. I'm out.